Long ago, in a quiet village nestled between gentle hills, there lived an old woman. Her hair had turned silver, her face lined with the stories of many years, yet her eyes still carried a light kind and unwavering. The people of the village loved her dearly, for she always welcomed each day with a smile, no matter how difficult life became. She lived alone in a small house near an ancient banyan tree, her husband having passed away long ago and no children by her side, but she never once complained. Each morning she would sit beneath the banyan tree, greeting those who passed by. Farmers returning from the fields, carpenters carrying tools, and merchants walking toward the small market would pause for a moment, comforted by her presence. The old woman always had a gentle word, a laugh, or sometimes just her serene silence. Life in the village was not easy. There were seasons when rain never came, leaving the crops to wither. There were times when sickness struck and a family could not work or eat. Worries often weighed heavy on the villagers' hearts. One afternoon, a young woman named Radha came to her, eyes swollen with tears, her voice trembling. "I do not know what to do," she confessed. "My husband went to the city to find work, but he has not sent any money back. My children are hungry and I am afraid." The old woman looked at Radha with compassion, her smile calm and patient. "Sit down, my dear," she said softly. "Tell me, what do you think will happen?" Radha wiped her eyes and whispered, "I fear the worst. What if he cannot find work? What if he forgets about us? What if we are left with nothing?" The old woman shook her head gently. "When your thoughts turn dark, your heart grows heavy. But when you choose to think of what is good, your spirit lightens, and sometimes goodness itself finds its way to you." "But how can I think of good things?" Radha asked, her voice breaking, "when everything feels so hopeless." The old woman held her gaze, then spoke with quiet strength. "Let me tell you a story." Radha leaned in, listening. The old woman's voice flowed like water. "Once, long ago, there was a poor man who had nothing. No food, no family, no coins to his name. He sat by the river, weeping in despair. An old woman passed by and asked, 'Why do you cry?' The man answered, 'Because I have nothing. How can I ever be happy?' The woman smiled and pointed around him. 'You have the river, carrying water for life. You have the trees, giving shade and fruit. You have the sun, rising each day to warm you. Look around, life surrounds you with gifts. If you think only of what you lack, sorrow will never leave you. But if you see what you already have, peace will enter your heart.'" As Radha listened, her breathing slowed, her tears drying on her cheeks. The old woman continued, "The poor man stopped crying that day. He lifted his eyes and noticed the beauty around him. His circumstances did not change overnight, but his heart did. From that change, his life began to open toward hope." The old woman placed her hand gently over Radha's. "Do you see, child, life may not shift with magic. But when our thoughts change, the way we live, the way we endure, the way we love, all of it changes. That is the strength hidden within you." Radha lowered her head, the weight on her chest beginning to ease. She whispered, "Then perhaps my thoughts can change my life." The old woman nodded. "Yes, if you wake each morning and say to yourself, 'Today will bring something good,' your heart will rise stronger. You will care for your children with love, and you will wait for your husband with hope. But if you only think of misfortune, your spirit will wither before any trouble even arrives." For the first time in many days, Radha smiled faintly. "I understand," she said softly. The old woman squeezed her hand once more. "It is only the first step, my dear, but it is the step that will open every other door." That evening, Radha walked home lighter than she had come, carrying in her heart not certainty, but something more powerful, hope. The following days unfolded slowly, as they always did in the village. Dawn broke with the songs of unseen birds, the murmur of footsteps as farmers carried baskets to the fields, and the distant creak of wooden carts on the uneven path. Yet for Radha, something within had shifted. Each morning she remembered the old woman's words, repeating quietly to herself, "Today will bring something good." It was not a magic spell, nor an escape from hardship, but a gentle reminder like lighting a small candle in the darkness. She woke early, cooked what little food she had, and gathered her children close. The hunger did not vanish, nor the waiting, but she discovered a strength she had not felt before. Where before her mind would race with fear, now she paused and searched for a fragment of gratitude. The laughter of her children as they played, the shade of the banyan tree, the breeze that carried the scent of earth after a light rain. At first it felt unnatural, even forced, but as days passed, these moments of noticing grew into a habit. The fear did not disappear completely, fear never does, but it no longer ruled her. Weeks later, as the sun dipped behind the hills, a messenger arrived from the city with a letter. Radha's hands trembled as she broke the seal. Her husband had found steady work and had already sent money back to the village. Relief rushed over her, not like a sudden storm, but like a river that had been quietly filling its banks. She pressed the letter to her chest, tears welling again, this time not from despair, but from release. The next morning she hurried to the old woman's house, her voice filled with joy. "He found work," she exclaimed. "He has sent money home. My children will eat. My heart feels lighter than it has in so long." The old woman smiled, her eyes reflecting both kindness and quiet knowing. You see, my child, she said gently, the world often answers the song we sing in our hearts. Trouble will come, as it always does, but when you choose hope over despair, you give yourself the strength to walk through the storm. Word of Radha's change spread through the village. Neighbors noticed how she carried herself differently, how her laughter returned, how even in uncertainty her spirit seemed steady. Slowly others began to visit the old woman, seeking the same wisdom. A farmer whose crops had withered came, head bowed in frustration. I have worked tirelessly, yet the rains have failed me, he lamented. The old woman listened, then reminded him of the seeds yet to be planted, the soil still fertile, and the strength of his hands. If you believe only in loss, you will not see the chance that remains. But if you believe in tomorrow, you will find courage to plant again. A carpenter whose tools had broken came next. He feared he could not repair them in time to finish his work. The old woman spoke softly. The tools are only extensions of your hands. They may break, but your skill remains. Do not let despair blind you to the resourcefulness you carry within. Each visitor left with a lighter heart, not because their troubles had vanished, but because they began to see with different eyes. The village itself seemed to shift, not in wealth or abundance, but in spirit. Laughter returned to the marketplace. Neighbors began sharing what little they had more freely. And even in the hardest days there was a sense of endurance born from hope. One evening Radha returned once more to the banyan tree. She found the old woman watching the sunset, her gaze soft, as if she were listening to something beyond sound. Sitting beside her, Radha whispered, "Do you truly believe thoughts alone can change life?" The old woman's smile deepened, not as an answer but as an invitation. "Thoughts are like seeds," she said quietly. "Some are weeds, quick to grow and choke what is good. Some are flowers, fragile yet beautiful. And some are trees, slow to rise, but strong enough to shelter generations. Whatever we plant in the soil of our minds will shape the garden of our days." Radha let the words sink in, the silence between them as important as the speech. In that silence, she began to understand. Life was not about avoiding suffering, but about choosing what to carry through it: fear or hope, bitterness or gratitude. As the stars began to appear above the hills, Radha looked up at the sky and felt something she had not known in a long time: peace. It was not the peace of everything being solved, but the peace of knowing she had strength enough to meet whatever would come. The old woman rose slowly, her body frail but her spirit unshaken. "Remember," she said softly, "no storm lasts forever. But even while it rages, you can decide whether to tremble in darkness or to walk with a candle in your hand." And so, in that small village, under the ancient banyan tree, a quiet wisdom took root. It spread not through force or command, but through gentle stories, through lived example, through the unseen power of thoughts turned toward light. The villagers learned, each in their own way, that while life's burdens could not be erased, the way they carried them could transform everything. For Radha, the lesson became a way of living. She no longer waited for life to bring only fortune. She learned to meet both joy and sorrow with the same steady heart, repeating to herself each morning, "Today will bring something good." And in that simple practice, she discovered what the old woman had known all along: that the strength of positive thought was not a distant dream, but a path, quiet and enduring, leading each soul toward the light.